We all grow and learn in our lives, and I've learned that all kinds of people can get AIDS, even children. But it's the disease that's frightening, not the people who have it. You can't catch AIDS from hugging someone. I'm not asking you to send money. I'm asking for something more important. Your understanding. Maybe it's time we all learned something new.
Right here, we are having all of our back scenes exposed, so you're going to be able to see the crew members when they pull it out. They're also going to be in the scene, so they're going to take a breath and then be part of the scene for a while if they get stuck in the lighting transition. We have our prop box right here, which has Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. This is a 3-hour show. We also have some of our tables here and our chairs and for Roy's desk. We have it labeled out so when the audience sees from their seats, it's all organized and all pretty. It's not like a mess back here. And here's our bed. Our bed's going to be staying here most of the show. We roll it out for ghost scenes and from prior. This is usually where their apartment's at. That's how we set it. And then we have our baker's rack where all our props are when we hand off for the actors and everything. This is the staircase where the angel is going to be climbing up during the end of Act 3, which is 3.6. She's going to climb up in there and her angel with wings, and she's going to be harnessed at the very top, and we're going to push her through by 2 crew members through the flag where she emerged with a light behind her. This is our hospital bed. This is where Prior will be laying in bed for most of Act 2. He has come down with AIDS and it's kind of heavy. We have 3 people on this bed just for that reason, because it has to be hooked around the corner since we have so little space.
So my favorite scene was Antarctica. And at the beginning of the process, Jeremy was like, I want color. Like, I want this to be super colorful. And I was like, okay. And then Glenda, the costume designer, was like, well, I'm making everyone wear white. And I was like, all right, well, that makes sense. And then it also snowed, which was really cool. But for that scene, I was like, well, this is bright. It's a dream scene. So I put all of my blue light on to make it seem cold, but then I had 2 specials. They're called dichroic glass gobos, and they're pieces of like shattered glass of different colors that when put on stage they look psychedelic. And so I lit the flag with those, and then their faces were lit with blue. That scene, like, Jeremy was like, I want it bright, and I was like, okay, well, I'm thinking blue, and he wanted color, so I put color on the flag instead of on their faces. And so whenever they walked past it, because the light was mounted on the floor pointing up, so whenever they walked past the VOMs that had them in it, their white costumes would turn like colorful because the light would be hitting them instead of the wall.
We actually were really lucky. We got to rehearse in there to start with. And everything was very open to how it usually is on main stage. So it's a proscenium with a deep apron. You had lots of room, kind of not the greatest sound quality because it is an oval stage kind of situation. But once they took away the big they chopped off the apron and then built it a little bit so that it's risers, added a wall that cut our stage literally in half from what we were rehearsing. Even though we had the floor taped out, having physical barriers is so much different. One of the things that we did realize we needed to do was kind of on an OCD level, but definitely needed, was to box out the backstage area of like, this is your zone. This is where you can be. Certain areas were deeply carpeted for quick changes and stuff because this space in particular was so unforgiving with sound. The lightest whisper would just reverberate everywhere around you, and you were just like, oh, I hear your conversation. That's nice. I'm so glad that you got that mic tape figured out. So different things like that we had to work out with costumes and scenic changes and stuff like that. Even though we weren't a scene heavy show, like wagons weren't coming in and out, but we had things like a bed and a hospital bed and an exam table that were all fairly loud and took up quite a few acres backstage. So things had to be taped out just for the Tetris of it all, so we knew this would go back here, so don't stand here in this moment, stuff like that. It was also for actor safety and crew safety to know, like, this is where you can be, this is where you can't be, things are running, moving, stuff like that. One of my biggest challenges calling wise was the ending. Trying to get doors to burst open at the right angle, the light to shine, push stairs through, while also having actor safety. She's just harnessed in, holds on for 2 seconds, and then opens her arms at the last second. All of those happening in the span of 5 seconds is all very kind of stressful, and at the same time you have the most daunting music hanging over your head that you have to call at the right beat. We definitely ran that a couple of times, and it took me a while to find the groove of how I wanted to call it, because a lot of things I was calling it right, but it just wasn't sitting right with me. And so I just now discovered that I like to work off of a timer. So instead of necessarily watching the entire time, every little second, or trying to listen, I have my safety net timer of like at exactly 4.5 seconds, I call it, it goes out, and it looks wonderful. So that was my big moment.